Bill Maher is targeting the so-called woke warriors, professional activists who power their agendas with a heavy helping of performative outrage and virtue signaling. And trust me, he's not pulling punches. The real-time host has had enough officially now. He's dishing out verbal smackdowns as if it's open season on BS activism, and it's totally savage. I've collected all the mic drop moments you need to watch, so subscribe now and let's get right to it. It is that he doesn't waste time sugarcoating and stalling, he simply attacks the jugular. No fluff, no filter. When the so-called woke mob begins contorting itself into indecipherable shapes to defend terrorists as an act of social justice, Maher calls it what it is: delusional hypocrisy. If you're too quick to chant slogans from the comfort of your screen, blindly supporting a cause you barely comprehend, perhaps. And I mean, perhaps try living in the shoes of the victims you so mindlessly ignore. Wearing a pin and posting hashtags, that's easy. But when you're buried beneath the rubble of the ideology you're blindly defending, the story changes fast. Maher's opening statement was a wrecking ball. What came next? A full-on detonation. We could waste the entire day dissecting the calamity of our diluted education system, a system more focused on creating submissive, agenda-influenced drones than real critical thinkers. Along with their degrees in grievance studies, today's graduates receive six figures. In debt. If the system was really performing as it should, perhaps they wouldn't be in such a hurry to buy every woke ideology hook, line, and sinker, or better yet, empathize with genuine terrorists. Come on, it's hardly cutting-edge research to determine that Hamas is a terrorist organization. That information is literally at one's fingertips. And yet, individuals hold on to slogans rather than facts, proudly sporting their ignorance as a badge of honor. Fairness must be noted, though, as Maher tosses them a small amount of credit, he applauds them for fighting for something greater than themselves. Trouble is, oftentimes what they're fighting for is constructed on sheer nonsense. Nelson Mandela waged a righteous and honorable fight, South Africa's liberation from the harsh yoke of apartheid. His cause wasn't founded on popular catchphrases or hashtag activism. It was based on sacrifice, self-discipline, and a firm moral anchor. Mandela did not fight for claps or social media validation. He did not pursue clout, he sought genuine justice. He read profoundly, reflected intelligently, and grasped the world that he was trying to transform. He didn't wield identity as a sword to close off discussion, nor sold half-baked philosophies to get a good conscience. Rather, he constructed bridges, not echo chambers. Mandela comprehended that genuine freedom took intellect, compassion, and a vision for the long haul. Not merely a slogan or a protest placard. Today's self-styled activists could learn a great deal from that, and that right there is the issue with so many woke activists. They holler praise for historical icons such as Nelson Mandela, sharing his quotes, labeling him an inspiration, but hardly ever advocate for the causes for which he actually fought. Bill Maher's argument is straightforward. If Mandela is your ideal, then stand up for the downtrodden like he did. Every day, millions of women in Arab nations and around the world are deprived of fundamental human rights. They can't vote, can't own property, and often can't even leave their houses alone without a male chaperone. These women are living in a modern-day apartheid, not racial, but sexual. And yet, there's no international movement, no protest rallies, no trending hashtags defending them, but for thousands of young adults swaying flags and chanting slogans to support terrorist groups. The irony would be humorous if it Bill Maher does not relent. He maintains the pressure on woke activists, particularly those promoting the disastrous defund the police agenda. All it took was a few corrupt cops, and lo and behold, they want to destroy the whole system with no idea what happens next. With characteristic sarcasm and razor-sharp logic, Maher calls out the fallacy of dismantling an entire institution due to standalone incidents while turning a blind eye to actual authoritarian abuses occurring elsewhere. Look at nations where so-called fashion police are not a joke, but a brutal government agency. In Iran, for example, women are harassed, arrested, and shamed publicly merely for not wearing a hijab. Picture that state-sponsored repression over an article of clothing, but the outrage mobs in the West remain suspiciously quiet. No Twitter, hashtags, no incendiary campus protests. Why? Because it doesn't fit the narrative to call out those regimes. That's worst-case selective activism. Take a moment to compare the United States, a country often criticized and vilified by woke activists, to many others around the world, and it becomes clear we're living in something close to a paradise, especially for women. Here, women can vote, own property, drive, pursue any career they want, run for office, speak freely, protest publicly, and make decisions about their own lives without needing permission from a husband, father, or the state. They can lead companies, raise families, or do both. They can walk the streets without worrying about being arrested for what they're wearing. And yet, rather than enjoying and standing up for these hard-won liberties, many opt to bash the very system that allowed them to exist. But even that isn't the most infuriating aspect. What is really maddening is the way so many automatically align themselves with the oppressor, not the oppressed. They yell encouragement to regimes and ideologies that would take away from them every right they have today. It's virtue masquerading as hypocrisy, and Bill Maher has no problem saying so. Script. Hey, did you hear that cringeworthy silence? It wasn't a pause, it was a punchline worth a standing ovation. But naturally, it's the discussion nobody wishes to have. The instant you rebuke Islam, you're hit with the tag Islamophobe. On the other hand, rebukes of other faiths, particularly Christianity, are not merely accepted but regularly hailed. You'll never tire of seeing Muslims openly criticizing Western values, Christianity, or secularism. But any questioning of Islamic dogma is done as a hate crime. That uncomfortable silence betrays something more profound, an egregious double standard. We go to great lengths to protect Islam from even the mildest criticism, while other religions are picked apart, ridiculed, and questioned openly. The threat of cancellation, shaming, or being called intolerant silences many, so that's why I have respect for Bill Maher. He doesn't walk around it. He tells the uncomfortable truths nobody else is brave enough to say, with clarity, no holds barred, and no apologies. Script 9 now. Bill Maher is cranking up the heat on contemporary feminists, and it's long overdue. Kanye West gets blasted regularly for what his wife wears, with critics accusing him of being controlling, sexist, or oppressive. Social media goes wild. Think pieces dominate the internet, and self-reckoned feminists run to condemn him. Where is that same outrage over Iranian women? Women literally forced by law to cover hair, body, and quiet voices. Not a whisper, not a tweet, not a protest. The silence is deafening. If Kanye's wife in a tight dress is oppression, then what do we say about women being arrested for not wearing a headscarf? Modern slavery, state-sanctioned gender apartheid. Maher's argument resonates. If feminism is really about women's rights, it can't be picky. You don't get to yell patriarchy in Beverly Hills and overlook actual tyranny in Tehran. Feminism without integrity isn't activism, it's performance. And Maher has had enough of pretending otherwise. Bill Maher isn't merely telling jokes, he's calling out the hypocrisy, selective outrage, and intellectual laziness of today's woke movement. From standing up for terrorist ideologies to passing over actual oppression in favor of performative activism, these so-called progressives have lost their moral compass. They praise heroes like Mandela, yet won't fight for the actually oppressed. They criticize their own nation, but ignore atrocities being committed overseas. Maher speaks out what most are afraid to say, and he says it without apology. In a universe of silence and self-censorship, his voice reminds us that truth doesn't care about your hashtags. That's it for today's video. If you liked it, hit the like button and subscribe for similar content.